All right, back with part two. And I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit now that we saw our first dividing, and it was very strange, but I'm thinking that we should be able to speed up a little bit once we get used to the procedure. The thing that we're dividing by goes in front. And now I think what am I going to have to multiply by here? So I need this to be 2x cubed. Well, x squared works again, doesn't it? X squared times 2x is 2x cubed. X squared times minus 1 is minus 1x squared. And then I subtract. Be careful subtracting. Negative 11 subtract negative 1 is negative 10. Bring down the 17. Notice that I didn't show any work out here on this side, and this is as much work as you need to show. You're welcome to do rough work wherever you would like. And now what do I need to multiply by to get to minus 10? Well, it's minus 5x to get to the x squared. Minus 5x times 2x. Minus 5 times 2 is minus 10. X times x is x squared. Got to multiply the other thing. Minus 5x times minus 1 is positive 5x. Subtract down, and that's gone just like we planned. Subtract down. This is 12x. And then bring down the minus 6. What do I need to multiply by to get this to be 12? Well, it's positive 6. And then something pretty cool happens here. 6 times 2x is 12x. 6 times minus 1 is minus, and then I get a remainder of 0. And I'll talk about this in a second, but I want to mention something. Notice, and I'm going to mess up my diagram, and I'm going to talk about this later, but I'm going to mess up my diagram. Notice how all the x squared terms and x squared and x terms and constant terms, they all go in nice even lines, and that always works like that. It's sort of, if you get a little bit lost, think about it in terms of those vertical lines. They all line up in this vertical lines. Okay, I'm going to write down the conclusion here. So what this means, and you can write this underneath, I'm going to write it beside, is that top thing is equal to 2x minus 1 times the quotient plus the remainder. Now the remainder is 0, so I can just leave it. Notice what this means. This means 2x minus 1 is a factor of that thing. Right? And in fact, if I really wanted to, I could keep factoring. And oh yes, I want to. Of course I do. I'm going to factor this. And so if I wanted to, and if I wanted to graph this, I wanted to graph that thing, y equals that, all I would have to do is factor it like this, and then real quick, I can find the roots are a half, and 3 is out here, say, and 2 is maybe here, and it's supposed to be a half, doesn't really look like a half. There we go, half. And it starts low and ends high. And now that I know how to divide, I know how to factor that thing. It means I can graph these weird ones that I haven't been able to graph yet. So that's pretty cool. Cool. Now, one thing that we're worried about before I move on is, where did the 2x minus 1 came from? Well, it was part of the question. Yeah, I get it. But how would we know what to try and divide in order to find something that factors nicely? What would we decide? Like, where did the 2x minus 1? How would we know? We could have tried x minus 3, but how would we know to guess that? And that's a problem that's for tomorrow. So I got one more dividing to go through, another question, and then it's time for you to practice. You really got to practice this new skill. It's actually a little bit of fun. But let's get through this last example. So this one is a little bit messed up, right? So I'll change color for it. This is all messed up because if I were going to start, I wouldn't put 4w here because remember those vertical lines. I got to put them in all in order. So put terms in order of decreasing degree is what we call it. So x cubed first, then x squared, then x, or w's or whatever. Put terms in order of decreasing degree. Also, when I start doing that, okay, so w cubed comes first. The next one should be w squared. And I know this from doing a couple that it's pretty strict about having x cubed and x squared. So what I do here is I put in a placeholder for missing terms. So where there was no w squared, I'm going to put in a placeholder. 0w squared, because that's just like it's not there. But I'm going to use it as a placeholder. And then I'm going to put in the 4w and the -2, and then I'm going to start going through my long division. And hopefully this is starting to get routine. I know this has got to be w cubed, so it's going to be w squared this time, w cubed, multiply, subtract. 0 subtract -2 is +2. Bring down the 4w plus 2w goes there to make this 2w squared, and minus 4w. Those don't cancel, right? I'm subtracting, so this becomes 8w, and -2 comes down. +8 times w is 8w, is -16. Subtract, and this one doesn't factor. That was so exciting last example when it actually went evenly, but this one doesn't. So I can say then in my conclusion, x or w cubed plus 4w minus 2 is equal to w minus 2 times the quotient here plus the remainder. And if I were to expand that all out, it would actually work. This is the divisor, that is the quotient, and that is the remainder. Okay. Well, that's it for the first day of dividing. Yes, first day of dividing polynomials. We've got a couple of days of this. Good luck on the homework. Make wise choices.